and welcome to the X22 report. My name is Dave, and today we're going to talk about the cyber attack event that is imminent. Now, we have to look back to 2003 when we had the blackout in the Northeast. I did mention this in my last broadcast, and I just wanted to repeat this. What do we know? We know that the entire Northeast was blacked out, and we had no power. And I was in New York at the time, in Manhattan, and surprisingly, people reacted completely opposite of what I thought they were going to react to the situation. I was there the entire night when this happened, and actually everyone was very friendly, very upbeat. People were buying $2 beers at the bars because they couldn't keep them because they were going to go bad. People were selling food really cheap, and whatever cash you had on hand, you had to pay in cash, of course, because they couldn't do credit. No one can go to the ATM. So that was one day, and the power pretty much came on the next day. So the power wasn't out for that long because everyone knew that eventually the power was going to come on. Now, if we look at events with these cyber attacks going back to last year, the news media keeps on telling us that there are continuous cyber attacks hitting banks, hitting key infrastructure sites like the power grid, water, nuclear. DHS has actually come on and told us that we could possibly have a power grid or nuclear cyber attack. And there are also videos about showing you how generators would react during a cyber attack on CNN. And if you look at my timeline, I actually have on one of the cyber attack events on the infrastructure a video of what the generator would do and what would happen. Now, all these little things leading up to today, and just recently, as of February 28th, there's been reported that there's a new wave of bank cyber attacks. Bank of America was hit, PNC, Capital One Financial, and Zions Bank, JP Morgan, and basically they're letting us know that they're still doing it. They even reported that in the beginning that Iran was responsible for all these cyber attacks. And then later on, they were telling us that China was responsible for these cyber attacks. And they actually located the building where these cyber attacks were taking place. Now, why did they include Iran and China in this? I believe they included them in this so if there is an event, we have the ability to go to war with Iran, which basically they wanted to do from the beginning anyhow. And they just, because of Russia and China, we just haven't invaded. And recently, President Obama just came out to say that by June, he's giving the okay for Israel. By the summer, I should say, he's giving the okay for Israel to go in and invade Iran. And this, I mean, people are going to look at this, and when we do have this event, I mean, the first one might be a small type of an event, because there's other things on the agenda. Of course, the wars. The other things on the agenda is they want to get CISPA passed. And CISPA, to me, is dangerous. It's something where the private companies can hand over your private information to government agencies if they suspect that you're some type of cyber attacker or some type of threat. Now, even if they hand it over by accident, there's no way of correcting this. There's nothing in the law that says, "Oh wait, it wasn't me," um, and they don't even have to tell you when they hand over all of your information. And basically, this completely negates the Fourth Amendment that they can just, go in, look at all your emails, look at all your financials, look at all your personal information. There's nothing to stop them. And I believe that the president, who already put in the executive order, wants this law to pass, even though they tell you they don't. They want this to pass. And the only way to get this off the ground, because they've already tried it once, and the House approved it, the Senate rejected it, I think they will need some type of event. Now, how big of an event? I mean, we don't know. I mean, they're going to need some type of an event to push this thing forward and have the American people say, "We will not stand for this. Please, let's put this in place so we can just stop these cyber attack terrorists and find them, just like we did back in 9/11 with the Patriot Act. Now they can spy on our conversations, just like they did with the NDAA. That if you are suspected to be a terrorist, they can just throw you in prison without due process, without proving anything. And this, to me, is very dangerous. Just recently, they've also had the DHS reporting that infrastructure attacks increased by 52%. Back in 2012, there were 198 cyber attacks, and I'm just going to break these down. 82 cyber attacks were against the energy sector. 29 cyber attacks were against the water sector. 7 cyber attacks were against the chemical sector. 6 cyber attacks were against the nuclear sector. And, the Pentagon also ruled that any type of cyber attack on the government will be considered an act of war. And I think they're just setting everything up to put everything into place to go to war, to set up CISPA, and basically do all of this. Now, do I think the first event will bring us into war? No. I think this will be a small event because I think they need CISPA passed. So this way they can spy and know what everyone is doing on the Internet, and it gives them a way of controlling the Internet. And a lot of parts of CISPA, I'm not going to go into CISPA, but a lot of parts of CISPA are very vague and very broad. That a lot of it is just open to interpretation. And basically, there's other reports saying that the last year's cyber attacks have shifted away from financial institutions toward key infrastructure sites. So this is how I think they're going to do this. I mean, I could be wrong, but I think the first small event is going to be basically some type of bank cyber attack. Small, a couple of banks, maybe Bank of America, PNC, or a couple, maybe 1 or 2 or 3 together, and we'll have something what's called a bank holiday where they close it down. And this could happen on a Friday. We're getting tons of, attacks on our system. We got to close it down, and for 3 to 5 days, let's say, nobody will be able to get any of their money out. And basically, when this happens, I mean, let's say, for instance, like here, if I couldn't get my money out the first day, not too bad. Many people don't keep that much cash in the house or cash on them, but it's not a big deal. It's okay. We have food. We have gas in the car. But then, when day 2 or 3 hits, people will say, well, wait a minute, I have no cash, but now I'm running low on gas. I need some food, so how am I going to get some food? And people will start to worry. And this is what, basically happens. They want people to feel this type of worry, because this will make them angry, and this will make them say, you know what, I want the government to do something about this. So, when day 3 or 4 hits, this is when people say, okay, now we're out of food. Because, how much food does everyone keep in their house? I mean, 4 days worth? To hear the rest of this broadcast, go to x22report.com.